Every single year, Baseball Prospectus drops their PECOTA projections for the upcoming season, and the PECOTA projections just dropped the other day on their website, and of course, I gotta react to them. These are typically some of the more accurate projections that you see before the season starts as to where teams will finish in their division, gives you a playoff percentage, gives you a World Series percentage, a lot of really cool stuff here. They use algorithms, they use numbers, they use data to make these projections. Pretty sure there's like no bias in this, unlike my predictions every year where I pick the New York Mets, which of course, those are still coming out, just I wait till closer to spring training. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Baseball Prospectus and the PECOTA projections say for the upcoming season. Getting us started in the American League East, coming in last place with about 80 wins is the Boston Red Sox, and to be fair, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think the Red Sox are right around a 500 team in one of the, if not the toughest divisions in all of baseball. It's going to be hard for them to rise through the top, especially when they've probably had one of the most disappointing off seasons this season, so I totally understand why they are in last place in the American League East. They're given about a 17% chance to make the playoffs. I think that's pretty fair. They're going to be a wild card team if they make it. They need a lot of guys to step up, but right now, the way that the roster is, when I'm recording this video, not a playoff team, I agree. Fourth place, the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, this is where it gets weird because 86 wins puts them in fourth place, still projected to make the playoffs at 54.1%, and that makes sense. I mean, the AL East is loaded. This is going to be a really weird year for the Rays. They have a lot of young talent like Junior Caminero coming up, getting ready to play at the major league level, but you're missing out on Wander Franco for various reasons, and he's a huge part of the team. And you don't have Tyler Glasnow. Like, this is the first time I feel like in a while where the Tampa Bay Rays legitimately, I don't know what to expect from them, but it also seems like that's exactly where they want you. They want you to doubt them because year after year after year, they continue to make the playoffs and be great. Will they make the playoffs again this year? You're going to have to wait and see for my prediction, but this, I can totally see them being a fourth place team. Third place, I'm actually surprised to see the Baltimore Orioles here, especially because this considers Corbin Burnes on the roster, and they have them at basically 87 wins, projected to make the playoffs as a wild card team, but I'm shocked that the Orioles are not close to a 90-win team. I think they have one of the best rotations in baseball. That 1 through 5 is disgusting, especially adding Corbin Burnes, and offensively, their team is a powerhouse, so I'm really surprised that they're all the way down here in third place. That means behind the Blue Jays and the Yankees, which I don't get it. I don't get how they're worse than the Blue Jays, but hey, again, this is using numbers. I'm not a numbers guy like that. That's why these websites get paid the big bucks, and that's why I'm here on YouTube. But yeah, Orioles, doubting them a little bit, I think they're one of the best teams in baseball. Second place is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays, coming in at 88.1 projected wins, 64% chance to make the playoffs. I'm feeling weird about the Blue Jays. I'm not gonna lie. It's a team that was high on the last couple seasons. Feel weird about them right now. Still kind of have some holes. Like, I don't think Justin Turner is necessarily like a solution for this team. I don't know if that made them better than they were last season. I just have doubts. I have doubts with the Blue Jays right now. They still obviously have so many great talented players like Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette, and on the pitching side, Chris Bassett's just so solid. Kevin Gausman is one of the best pitchers in baseball, but I don't know. There's something weird in my heart about what's going on with the Blue Jays right now. Another team that's had a relatively disappointing offseason. And then coming in first place is going to be the New York Yankees with 94.5 projected wins, a 91% chance to make the playoffs. This makes sense. Totally can buy into the Yankees being considered as the best team on paper in the American League East. I may not necessarily agree with it, but when you have that pitching staff with Garrett Cole up top, Carlos Rodon's going to have a bounce back year. They added Stroman. That's a really good 1-2-3, along with the fact that they brought in Juan freaking Soto to that lineup. They're going to be a scary team. They're going to be very good. And if they don't make the playoffs, I mean, what a failure of a season it will be. Moving on to the American League Central. No surprise here. Chicago White Sox in last place at 65.7 projected wins with a playoff chance at 0.3. That's got to be one of the lowest ones. And it makes sense. The White Sox are not a very good team. Like Luis Robert, that's pretty much it. That's the guy you're looking at. And Dylan Cease, those are the two really good players on that team. But they should be the worst team in the American League Central in what is the worst division in baseball. Fourth place, I'm not surprised that the numbers project them there, but I'm a little bit higher on this team. That's going to be the Kansas City Royals at 69.9 projected wins. Nice. I actually have really high hopes for the Royals. I love what they did this offseason. I love that they paid Bobby Witt Jr. They brought in some veteran pitching in what was one of the hotter teams to end the season last year. Keep an eye out for the Royals. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but if I had a bold take right now, the Royals are going to make the playoffs one way or another. Surprised they're only coming in at 70 wins in this division. Like, there's a world where they're like the second best team in this division right now. Maybe I'm crazy. You let me know in the comments. Detroit Tigers coming in at third place at 75.6 projected wins, a playoff percentage of 6.7%. Tigers are a hot team. They've also made some good moves, bringing in Kenta Maeda and Jack Flaherty to that rotation, which of course needed some help. Spencer Torkelson's look great. Riley Green's going to be hopefully healthy for a full season. Colt Keith should be coming up playing third base. They have a lot of really solid players. This is a team that's exciting. They did a lot of good things towards the end of the season as well. AJ Hinch had him playing well. I could totally see the Tigers making a playoff run, especially through the AL Central. Second place, I guess this isn't a surprise, but the Cleveland Guardians. Maybe this is me being stupid, but I'm kind of feeling down on them a little bit. Just feels like this Guardians team is getting towards that point where it's like they're just okay again. It's because they're in the AL Central. They might win 84 games. Jose Ramirez is obviously a stud. Josh Naylor's great. Steven Kwan's really good, and they're going to have great pitching. But I don't know. Something in my brain brain is telling me the Guardians are going to have a disappointing season. 42.9% playoff percentage chance. And then, of course, coming in first place is going to be the Minnesota Twins at 88.3 projected wins. That feels a little high for a team that relatively hasn't done that much this offseason. I don't know how much better they got. Losing Sonny Gray, I think, is really going to hurt them a lot. And while on paper, definitely the best team in this division, I think there's no way around it. That offense is still so strong. I don't know if it's as guaranteed that they're going to win the division. Like, their division percentage chance right now is 66.5%. That to me feels appropriate, but at the same time, I don't know, man. This AL Central is wide open, in my opinion. Way more open than PECOTA's leading on. And then for the last division in the American League, we have the AL West, and shocker, the Oakland A's are in last place. Projected 64 wins feels really high. Really high. I would be shocked if the A's win over 60 games. I can't imagine that. The fact that they even have a 0.1% chance at the playoffs feels crazy. Seems terrible. There's just no way around it. But I guess good for Oakland A's fans while they still have them. If you even are an A's fan, are you still rooting for them in that organization because they're leaving? Like, this feels weird. Fourth place, again, not a shocker, the Los Angeles Angels. This team is still very bad. Mike Trout obviously needs to be healthy for them to even have a chance, just a sniff of even making like 500, which is going to be pretty tough. They brought in Robert Stevenson. They brought in some other players here and there, but losing Shohei Ohtani, how is that going to make this team any better? It can't possibly. This makes a lot of sense. 74, I'll say this, feels a little high for them as well. Seattle Mariners coming in third place at 84.6 projected wins with a playoff percentage at 40.2%. So they actually, I guess maybe because the Guardians are in a weaker division, they might have a better chance of winning it. That's probably why they have a higher playoff percentage. But yeah, 84, it's probably not going to get you into the playoffs this year. The Mariners pitching's great. I like what they did this offseason. They went out and got some really good players. And of course, you have J-Rod and JP Crawford. Looked so good last year. They brought in Jorge Polanco. Mariners are a sneaky good team. That pitching is fantastic. One more big bat. One more big bat's all they need. And I think this team can make a run. Surprisingly, Texas Rangers in second place. I am actually kind of surprised. I thought this team would be closer to 90 wins. I thought they might give them even first place, but I guess the numbers don't love the Rangers as much as maybe I do at home. Obviously, World Series champions, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, Evan Carter, Nathaniel Lowe, Jonah Heim, Josh Young. I mean, this team is absolutely loaded. Wyatt Langford going to be called up. You're missing Max Scherzer for half the year. DeGrom's not going to pitch. So the pitching could be a little bit on the weaker side, but they did it last year. It is really hard to repeat, but they're a really good team. I'm surprised they're actually coming in this low, but they are projected to make the playoffs as a wildcard team. 55.4% chance. Or at least they consider them as a team that has one of the better chances to make it. And then coming in first place at 94.6 wins, the most wins in the American League, the Houston Astros. I'm a little surprised by this. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the Astros are really good. You have a loaded lineup, of course. Yainer Diaz, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker. But I'm a little surprised to see them projected for this many wins. Again, good team, great organization, but I feel like this might be a little bit of a down year for the Astros. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in my predictions where I go with them. But yeah, that's the American League. Let's now move on to the National League. Getting us started off with the National League East. In last place, the Washington Nationals at 58.3. A 0% playoff chance? I'll say this. I don't think the Nationals are that bad. I actually think the Nationals could be better than the Miami Marlins. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I don't think the Nationals are that bad. CJ Abrams looked really good. Lane Thomas was great. I know I'm like only mentioning a couple players here. I don't want to go through like the entire team, but I don't think they're worse than the A's. That's insane to me. And a 0% playoff chance. I mean, Nationals fans, I'd be pissed about this. I feel like they are giving you absolutely no love. I don't think they're a good team, but I don't think they're one of the worst or possibly the worst in baseball. Worse than the A's? Worse than the White Sox? No way. Coming in fourth place, love to see it, the Miami Marlins. This is a team that played way above their skis last year. They just were not that good, and I can't imagine when you have an entire year of no Sandy Alcantara that you're going to be able to be as good as you were the previous year. I don't have faith in the Marlins. I'm sorry, I never will. This roster's built weird. They don't have a lot of great players. Like Jake Berger's awesome. Josh Bell swung the bat well. Jazz Chisholm, of course. But man, this Marlins team just scares me a lot. I'd be taking the under all year on the Marlins, and they have a 29% playoff chance. That makes sense. Third place, my New York Mets, and I think this is really accurate. 83.3 projected wins on the season. I pretty much have them as a 500 team that could go 5 wins above, 5 wins below, depending on how the season goes. So 85 wins is kind of the ceiling right now that I see for the Mets, and 83, that's kind of right smack in the middle between being 500 and 85 win team. So I totally get this. A playoff percentage of 48.1% makes me happy as a Mets fan because we know that this team desperately lacks the starting pitching that you need to make a run. But hey, maybe crazier things have happened. David Stearns is here. I got high hopes for the Mets, but maybe not as high as previous years. Second place, the Phillies at 85 wins. A little bit lower than I thought. A little bit lower. I wonder why. Because I mean, you still have Real Muto and Bryce Harper, and Bryson Stott played well, and Trey Turner's good, and Alec Boehm stinks, but he's fine. Castellanos is okay. Brandon Marsh played really well. Kyle Schwarber. I'm really surprised. And they're pitching like you still have Wheeler, Nola, Ranger Suarez, Taijuan Walker. Their bullpen's pretty okay. I'm surprised only 85 wins, but I love it. Anytime to slander the Phillies, I'm totally in, but surprised this low. I could have seen them closer to 90 90, but again, it's hard to win 90 games. And then coming in first place, 100 wins, makes sense. Arguably the best team in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. And yeah, if they don't win 100 games, something went wrong. Somebody got crazy hot in that division because they are by and large the best team. Every position is absolutely loaded on this team. Seriously, where's a weak point? Maybe their starting rotation, maybe? But when you got Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson and Austin Riley and Sean Murphy and Michael Harris, and just the list goes on and on. I hate this team. They're so good. 99.4% chance to make the playoffs, though. Sounds like if they don't, something terribly wrong must have happened. Hope this is a jinx, PECOTA. Please jinx the Braves. All right, National League Central. We've got the Pittsburgh Pirates coming in at 72 wins in last place. See, like, I don't know how different the Pirates are from the Nationals. Maybe it's because the division is weaker that they have them with so many more wins, but I don't know how different they really are at the end of the day. Pirates did make some moves. I like them. They have a bunch of good players. Key Brian Hayes, I think, is going to continue to take a step forward. O'Neal Cruz is really going to hopefully pop off this year. Brian Reynolds, Jack Sawinski, and they've had some good young pitchers. Mitch Keller looked solid last year. Shout out Dave Bednar, one of the most underrated closers in the game. But yeah, I think they are a last place team right now. Close to it, at least. Fourth, Cincinnati Reds, 78.6 wins is what they're projected for, a 22.8% playoff chance. And I think that makes sense. The Reds still need pitching. It's all going to rely on their pitching because I think their offense is really solid. Ellie De La Cruz is going to play better. Matt McClain for a full season. Spencer Steer, Jamer Candelario. Will Benson look good. Tyler Stevenson's got to play better. TJ Friedel was really good. Their pitching, it's going to come down to that. Can they stay healthy? Can they perform well in that tiny, tiny ballpark? If they can, this could be a surprise team for sure. Third place, Milwaukee Brewers. And honestly, I thought they were going to be a little bit lower, just especially losing Corbin Burns. Now your number one is Freddie Peralta, and you're trying to fill in the pieces around him. Of course, Milwaukee is built to be a sustainable team. It is a weaker division, and you still have Christian Yelich, Willie Adames, William Contreras, very, very good players, along with some young guys coming up. Jackson Chourio, to name one. I'm just surprised that they're this high. I could have seen them being in last place, and I wouldn't have flinched. Second place, Chicago Cubs projected under 500. I guess maybe if they bring back Bellinger, this could change. I think the Cubs arguably are the best team in that division. Imanaga was a great signing, especially with how cheap he was. That rotation did pretty well last year. Justin Steele is a top 30 pitcher in the game. And offensively, very solid team all around. Like, you can improve the catcher position if you want to. Maybe just because there is no Bellinger, it feels like there's a big gap in that lineup right now, but they're a very solid team. Seiya Suzuki's a stud. Surprised they haven't projected under 500. I would say they might even be the best team in the division, like I said. And then in first place, the St. Louis Cardinals at 85.2 projected wins, a playoff percentage of 63.2%. The Cardinals got to prove it to me. Talk about no pitching. Like, I know you got Sonny Gray. He's good. The rest of that rotation still stinks. Like Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, Miles Michaelis. Maybe I'm forgetting one. I don't care. Like, talk about mid. Talk about not great. Sonny Gray's a top 30 pitcher coming off of a Cy Young caliber season, but I don't know, man. This feels weird. I got a bad feeling about the Cardinals again this year. That pitching scares the living crap out of me. Obviously, offensively, they have beasts at a lot of positions, but Goldschmidt looked terrible to end the year. Arenado's another year older. I got bad vibes in St. Louis, and it all starts with Ali Marmol. I don't think that guy's a good manager, so we'll see how it goes for the Cardinals, but PECOTA likes them the most in that division. As for the last division, the National League West, we've got the Colorado Rockies obviously coming in last place. This might be the worst team in baseball. Nolan Jones, that's the guy. That's the dude that you should be watching on the Rockies. Him and I guess Ryan McMahon, but we've seen him so many times now. Nolan Jones is a ball player. Ezekiel Tovar is a really good young player who I think will improve next season, but they stink. They got no pitching. 57 wins, that's about accurate, and that does, I believe, put them as the worst team in baseball, which, yeah, I can get behind that. Them and the Nationals are not the same. There's no way. Fourth place at 79 wins, the San Diego Padres. I guess because you just have Machado, and you have Tatis, and you have Bogarts, you have Cronenworth, you have Ha-Sung Kim, you have a bunch of still really good offensive players with some pretty good pitching. Yeah, okay, I can buy the Padres being around a 500 team now that I said it out loud. It's just hard to say that when they were so disappointing last year and theoretically got worse because they lost a guy like Seth Lugo. Blake Snell's not there right now, and you got rid of Juan Soto, so it's hard to see how they could be better, but yeah, I guess they're about a 500 team. Maybe, I don't know. They're weird. You traded Juan Soto. That was so lame. 3, San Francisco Giants, just under 500 at 80.7 projected wins, a playoff percentage at 32.4%. This makes sense. Giants have had a relatively disappointing offseason again. Jung-Woo Lee is a nice little player, but that is not the piece that's going to take them over the top to make them a playoff contender. They still need some help on the hitting side. They could use a guy like Blake Snell maybe on the pitching side, or a Jordan Montgomery, or just somebody to add another arm to that rotation. I think they're relying a lot on their young players like Marco Luciano and Kyle Harrison to step up this season and hopefully propel them to the postseason. But right now, yeah, I think 500 is pretty accurate for the Giants. Second place, Arizona Diamondbacks at 85.3 wins. See, like, the Diamondbacks to me just straight up feel like a better team than the Cardinals. I guess they technically are the third team in terms of projected wins in the National League, so that makes sense. But the Diamondbacks feel really good to me. I know they made the World Series kind of as a shock last year, but they've improved upon that team. Another year of all these players just like having more experience, like a Corbin Carroll. Jordan Lawler, I think, is going to possibly have a breakout season hopefully this year as a rookie. They brought back Gurriel, brought in Eduardo Rodriguez to help that rotation. They have a good bullpen. I like the Diamondbacks a lot. lot. I don't necessarily think they're the division winner because the Dodgers exist, but thought they would have a few more wins projected on here. Surprising, but they do have a 60.6% playoff percentage, so they expect them to make it. And then, of course, the Los Angeles Dodgers in first place at 101.9 projected wins, playoff percentage at 99.7, and that makes sense. When you have an all-star team, you should make the playoffs, considering that the all-star team is just, it's insane what this team is. Let's just go through positions. Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. Shortstop, we don't really know yet. I guess it's Miguel Rojas, whatever. Max Muncy at third base. Hayward's gonna be running around the outfield. You have Ohtani. You have James Outman, who looked great. Miguel Vargas is gonna be banished to the nether realm at some point, but he'll play. The lineup's just loaded. I might even be forgetting guys. I don't know. This team's so good. And the pitching, they brought back Kershaw. They got Yamamoto. They got Glasnow. I mean, they're the best team in baseball. And they 100% should have the most projected wins, which they do. It makes a lot of sense. Best team in baseball. If they don't win the World Series this year, it's a failure. The Dodgers will continue to be chokers. Haven't won one since '88. So those are the PECOTA projections. I'd love to know what you guys think about them down in the comment section below. Again, I'll drop my predictions as we get closer and closer to the season, usually in the middle of spring training or so. Don't want to do it too early. Don't want to do it too late. But yeah, PECOTA, interesting what they've got here. So these are rational. Again, they're using numbers and I can see the process behind some of these, but I don't necessarily 100% agree, and I'm sure you don't either. So again, let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. Thank you guys for watching. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.